welcome to our third annual Autism Hope Summit. I am just so excited to have our next speaker. She is just one of the most amazing, most passionate people, and I just think you're in for a real treat. So welcome, Kelly. You are from one of my favorite companies, Earth Friendly Products, and we're going to be talking about, what are the benefits of, sustainable brands like yourselves and giving families tips and tools. And gosh, this is going to be a fun time. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Kristen. Really, it's an honor to be here with you. I'm so glad to be able to share our story and the great importance of greening your cleaning in your home.
Well, and I think it's an overlooked topic, and we'll get into that. But before we do, I want people, I know your story, but I want people that maybe might not have heard of your story to get an idea of why you're so passionate about what you do.
Absolutely. Well, so our company just celebrated our 50th anniversary. Our company was started in 1967 by my father, and he was such a passionate, visionary man. And he had come to this country from Greece, from the island of Crete in the 1950s, and really a beautiful story. I mean, coming here, $22 in his pocket, living in homeless shelters, and went through so much before he started our company in his garage 50 years ago. And at that time, he was heavily influenced by so many of the great environmentalists whose works we still read today. People like Rachel Carson, who wrote Silent Spring in 1962. And he ended up studying chemistry at Roosevelt University, went on to become a chemist, and was looking at all of the toxic ingredients used in traditional cleaning products and their effect on human health and the health of our environment. And he really wanted to do something different, to offer the consumer a much healthier alternative. And he was really influenced by growing up in Greece and how his mother did things, relying on natural ingredients, how well the water and the vinegar and the things that came from nature worked to clean. And so that was really his mission and his vision. And now, 50 years later, I'm proud to say that we're one of the top green products in the world. We have 4 manufacturing facilities here in the United States. And I really would love to share that with your audience because we make everything ourselves. And that's important because we have complete quality control. But we don't just use the greenest ingredients in our products, we also make it in the greenest fashion possible. So in our 4 manufacturing facilities, we're carbon neutral, we're water neutral, we're platinum zero waste.
Wow.
And that's something, yes. I mean, Kristen, can you imagine how hard it is to get to zero waste in your home?
Yeah.
Imagine in a manufacturing facility, we've been able to divert more than 95% of our waste from the landfill. And we've made a real commitment to greening everything in our operations because in the end of the day, we want to make our Ecos brand the safest product for humans and for our planet and for our children and for future generations. And so that's something that I'm certainly very proud of.
Well, your passion just jumps out of you, and it's just so obvious to tell, obvious just by listening to you that
Yeah.
what you do is coming from the heart. And, I remember thinking when I was pregnant, I was more thinking, what was I supposed to eat? What vitamins was I supposed to take?
Yes.
But never was I really thinking of what cleaners, because I grew up probably like many of those watching right now, whatever my family used is what I used. And
Yes.
I remember thinking the stronger the chemical, the more it meant that it was going to clean and kill everything that it was supposed to kill. And not until later, to when my son was diagnosed with autism, did I learn that, that's not the way to do it. So when we're talking about those, that when you're first starting your family, especially when you're pregnant, can we talk about why it's so important to use a product such as your own?
Absolutely. They've done many studies on the amount of chemicals that are found in the umbilical cord. The EWG did a study back in 2009 of 10 different babies and looking at the blood from the umbilical cord, and they saw nearly 230 industrial chemicals that were found. And these chemicals have all sorts of ingredients that are very detrimental to the developing fetus and to the child. And unfortunately, we live in a country that has no regulation on ingredients in cleaning products. And so there's so many dangerous dangerous ingredients, ingredients like formaldehyde and all of these things that we know are linked to so many illnesses and yet still end up in our cleaning products. So pregnancy is really a critical time to really look at the products that we bring into our homes, things that come in contact with our skin. Oftentimes people don't realize it, but when you wash your clothes in a laundry detergent, there's a residue that's left on those clothes. That residue is absorbed through your skin quicker than what you even put into your mouth. So it's very important that when you're using a laundry detergent, it's a green laundry detergent. Or your plates and glasses, the residue on them, you're ingesting. So, what you're breathing in the environment around you. The EPA estimates that indoor air pollution is 5 to sometimes 70 times higher than outdoor pollution because of toxic cleaning products. So pregnancy is a critical time, right? Because as the baby is developing, it's absorbing things quicker than even we would as adults that are fully formed. And so in our company, we make a line called Disney Baby Ecos that maybe you're familiar with. Thank you. We partnered with the Walt Disney Company back in 2012, 6 years ago, to make sure that we could reach new moms and new dads about the importance of greening their cleaning. And of course, the Walt Disney Company is a wonderful brand that a lot of new parents recognize. There's a lot of nostalgia around Winnie the Pooh and his friends. And oftentimes I say to people, when we think of Winnie the Pooh, we think of him being in a simpler and a gentler time, a time when the world was kind of free of these toxic ingredients. And so when you look at our brand, we're using a lot of natural ingredients in our brand as well, and things like coconut oil and essential oils and so forth. But really, pregnancy is a critical time, and I think if you look at the studies out there, it's unbelievable how many detrimental chemicals we're exposed to every day. And I would just say to your audience that, don't believe that because a product is being sold in a grocery store, it's safe for human health. Don't believe that there's anybody else out there policing it. We have to take these things into our own hands because there is no regulation around it. We have to read ingredients. We have to be fully informed about the products we bring into our homes. We've been fighting very hard for more regulation in the cleaning product space. I think that consumers, by and large, they started thinking about what they put in them and then what was on them, and they're just starting now to think about what's around them. And so I see a groundswell from consumers demanding more transparency, but it's really an important thing to push for, because when you walk into that grocery store and you pick up a product, turn it over, read the label. If the company does not disclose ingredients, do not purchase those brands, because if they're not disclosing the ingredients in those products, then you don't know what's in those products you're bringing into your home. Support brands that choose to fully disclose ingredients, and then really be an informed consumer. We've all got our mobile devices with us. Google things, look things up, read about things, and make the best choice you can for your family.
Well, and I love that you say that, because it brought me to a thought of, I remember being in one of the stores and I was trying to buy one of your products, and for whatever reason they were out. And
Okay.
I was like, oh no, as a mom, as a busy mom, as a mom with special needs child, especially, we have very limited time. So
Of course.
let me look to see if there's something else I can just get by with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go and I look, and I do look at all the ingredients and these are supposed to be clean type products. I'm just looking at the next thing. I got the next thing, right?
Absolutely.
If you cannot pronounce the word, or if you don't even know what that word is, or if there's a whole bunch of numbers past it, that is not natural. I don't understand how they can even claim that is a naturally clean product. So I ended up going to another store and getting your product, but it was because I just gave up. I was like, there's no way I can even try to, I don't know. I am so picky, and so many of our families watching, we're so picky on what we buy for food for our children, right?
Yeah.
We look at every ingredient, whether it have gluten or dairy or whatever the allergen might be. And yet here we are trying to be the best parents we can and keep our house as clean as we can. And often these cleaners are overlooked, and our kids have what we like to think of as, at least, think of a bucket full of toxins, and already the toxins are overflowing. And here we are just putting more toxins in when we're trying to get them out. So guys, this is so important. Whoever's watching this, all these families all over the world, cleaners are so overlooked. You really, really want to make sure you find a cleaner like Kelly's brand, because, which, although I've not found another one, so that brings me to the next, these third-party certifications for
Yes.
green, right?
Yes.
I think the reason I'm guessing why they don't want to really certify, because nobody wants to be as clean as you guys. I think there'll be like one company. It'll be you.
Thank you, Kristen. With our Ecos brand, we wanted to make sure that our Ecos cleaners had some sort of third-party certification so that a consumer could go into a store and feel very confident that someone had vetted the ingredients in our products. And since there is no regulatory body doing that, we felt like we should really take a look at the certifications available in the marketplace. When we did that, we decided to partner with the US EPA's Safer Choice program. So the EPA came out with this program initially as designed for the environment, and they went through a rebranding and became Safer Choice. And the Safer Choice program does three things. It looks at, number one, do you use the greenest ingredients available in that class of products? So it goes through all of your ingredients. Is everything the greenest thing available? Number two, does the product work? You just talked about the fact that you're a busy working mom, right? And so you need to have a product that's efficacious, that works. And so Safer Choice also looks at that as well, which is important. And then number three, it looks at, are these companies innovating in the green space? And certainly, at Ecos, we've been breaking barriers in green science for 50 years. And so we really want our Ecos brand to always be pioneering in the green space. And so that's why we partnered with Safer Choice. We've got more than 130 products in that Safer Choice program. So we have more products than any other brand in the nation, which is something that we're proud of as well. So when your audience goes to the store and they look at our Ecos brand, they can look at the label and they'll see the US EPA Safer Choice certification. And it's a little image of a two-person family and a little house and kind of a plant behind it. And you can just know that someone has checked it. And with so much greenwashing happening in the marketplace, we want to make sure to give our consumers complete confidence and faith in the products that we're making in our facilities. For the last few years, we've been honored by the United States Environmental Protection Agency with their Partner of the Year award for the fact that we do have so many products in their program, and for the fact that we're constantly bringing innovations to them. We actually have a pet line, our Ecos Pet offering that just was certified, the first pet offering certified by the Safer Choice program as well, because like our children are part of our family, so are our pets. And we also see pets having a lot more incidences of different illnesses because of their exposures to a lot of these toxic ingredients. So it's a great partnership, and I think it's a wonderful resource for people to really look to. If you don't know all the science, look for the EPA's Safer Choice certification.
And I think that's such a great tip. And I was also thinking there's been moments where, sometimes you buy something and you're like, well, let me try this, and here's one suggestion or tip I'll tell families. If all of a sudden you use a product and you think, quote unquote, it's natural or safe, and you use it in your bathroom, for, let's say, and all of a sudden you start coughing and you can't breathe, that's pretty much a good indication. I don't care what it says, that it says natural. I have never had that issue with your guys' products. I always feel, though, as I'm doing something really good for my family. If you know the show Friends, I don't know who's all watching, but in my generation, we all watch Friends.
Yes, of course.
I was considered the Monica because I clean like crazy. I really enjoy it. It's therapeutic for me. I like everything in its place. And so when I use your products, I feel like I'm another level for my son. It's just as though I'm making him a great dinner that I know he can eat. When I know his room is cleaned a certain way, the bathroom is done, or the floors are done, I know that I did my best as a mom to make sure that I've cleaned up his environment. I mean, we can't make it perfect, but we can do our very best. Now, I know you and I live in California, and I know there's a big push towards ingredient transparency. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, I'm really proud of the fact that California has taken the lead on this issue. So on October 15th of 2017, Governor Brown signed into law, the first state to do so, the Household Products Labeling Act and the Right to Know Act, which will require all manufacturers to disclose ingredients on cleaning products sold in California by January of 2020.
Wow.
And this was a big win. I certainly wish I could tell your audience it would go into effect immediately, as it should, but at least by January of 2020, if you're going to sell your products in California, you have to disclose ingredients. And since there's nearly 44 million people in our state, we believe that it'll change the way businesses are producing products across the country. They're not going to make a specific label for California and then something else for the rest of the market. They've recently passed legislation on the East Coast as well. And so over the next few years, we're still certainly going to stay at the forefront of lobbying for this. Very important, because you see a lot of times people in the industry will say, oh, you know what, it's proprietary, it's a secret, it's a trade secret, we can't disclose ingredients. But that's simply not true. Anyone in the industry can reverse engineer other people's products, and they can know what's in their brand. My competition knows what's in my product, but the consumer is the one in the marketplace who didn't have access to the information, and the consumer is the one who needs it most. I mean, you know, there could even be an ingredient that comes from nature that someone could have an allergic reaction to. That consumer needs to know that, hey, lavender is in that product. I need to know that. You mentioned, you know, briefly that, you know, sometimes with other cleaning products, people start coughing and they'll have other, you know, different types of reactions. And those acute reactions to cleaning products are very important to note. There's a lot of allergens and sensitizers and other things that produce these acute reactions, but then there's also the chronic implications that oftentimes go undetected, right? So things that are carcinogenic, things that are mutagenic and neurotoxic, and other things that are chronic and build up over time can be even more detrimental, right, in the long run. So it really is so very important. So we're glad that California has taken a stand. And I would say to your audience that's watching today, please reach out to your members that represent you in the United States Congress at a federal level, and also reach out to your state representatives and say that you want a Household Products Right to Know Act in your state. Let them know as their constituents that it's important to you, because our legislators want to hear from their constituents. I have my manufacturing facilities in California, Illinois, Washington, and New Jersey. So in those 4 states, I can really go to my legislators and really talk to them. And I want to make sure that people all across the country are doing the same thing, because everyone has the right to know what they're bringing into their homes.
Absolutely. I don't know where we as became a society that we pay for something, but don't tell us what we're buying. Don't tell us what we're using. It makes absolutely no sense. So I love that you're the leader on the front lines of this fight. And so you're definitely changing the world. Now, one of the things I know that's in your products is coconut oil. And, as a kid, often you think, coconut oil, I don't know if I would have thought of that as like a main ingredient for, cleaning the house. So can we talk about why that's so important and why you guys chose to use coconut oil?
Absolutely. So I actually just got back from a trip to meet with the farmers that grow a lot of the coconuts. But coconut is a wonderful ingredient in cleaning products. So when you're creating a cleaning product, you need a surfactant or a cleaning agent. And coconut does that really well. And when you think about the meat of the coconut, it's a very clean fruit. It's also a very sustainable fruit, in the sense that a coconut tree bears fruit for 60 years. So it supports 3 generations of farmers. And so it's not just the meat that's inside the coconut that's wonderful as a surfactant, but the rest of the coconut has a lot of other wonderful purposes too. We see coconut fibers and husks now used in car seats and mattresses and other things. So you can utilize the entire coconut. But the inside fruit is used as our surfactant or cleaning agent. We also use other things here as our cleaning agents. We use potato waste, we use beets. So there's a lot of wonderful things to be utilized, and a lot of power that comes from nature.
Absolutely. I think, again, as I said earlier, we overlook all of that stuff, and it's so important. Now, I was thinking as you were talking, if let's say a family's watching this and if they're just thinking, okay, maybe I want to try 1 or 2 or 3, what
Yep.
would be the first lineup, I guess, of where you would recommend them to try?
So I would say that if you were just going to change three things in your household right away in terms of your cleaning products, you're going to want a green laundry detergent, a green dishwashing product, and a green all-purpose cleaner. So in our Ecos brand, I say laundry first, and that's simply because, as I talked about, the residue that's left on your clothes is absorbed through our skin. So especially our children, right? They're out there, they're playing sports, their pores are open, and they're absorbing these chemicals. So it's very important to have a laundry detergent, a green laundry detergent. In our case, with our Ecos brand, we have it in all sorts of, as we like to say, flavors. So for whatever people like or enjoy, whether that's geranium or lemongrass or lavender, there's so many different choices in our offering. The next thing I would talk about would be a dish product. So dish, because of the residue left on your plates and glasses, you put your water in that glass and you drink out of that. You put your food on that plate, you eat off of it. If you look at a lot of the dish products, it'll say do not ingest on the back. It'll have skulls and crossbones. Yet every single day we're ingesting these dangerous ingredients and they're leaving residues on our plates and glasses. And it's kind of like you had said earlier, sometimes we smell things and we're like, oh, good, this is cleaning. This smells like it's really disinfected and this smells. And unfortunately, when we look for those like rigorous kill claims, it's also killing good things as well, right? And so we have to be very, very careful about how we're cleaning. So dish would be number 2, and then all-purpose cleaners would be number 3, because those are the surfaces that our children are coming into contact with every day. So countertops and high chairs and places where they're putting their hands and things should be washed as well with a green cleaner. In our offering, we utilize some really fun things in our Ecos brand, like our Parsley Plus. Parsley we love because parsley has natural antibacterial properties. You oftentimes use it to cleanse your palate between meals. We also utilize ginger. Our VP of Innovation, when she was developing that product, she was actually pregnant at the time with her daughter, and it was a couple years ago, and she was feeling very nauseous, and so she was actually smelling ginger for nausea, and she realized, you know what, I'm in nesting mode. I want to clean my house. I want everything to smell like ginger, and so she put it into our all-purpose cleaner. But ginger's a wonderful ingredient. I mean, me personally, if I have a cough, I'll utilize ginger as an anti-inflammatory, right? So we have a ginger all-purpose cleaner. So I would just say to parents, if you just looked at laundry, dish, and all-purpose, those would be the first 3 things I would go to right away, because we're coming into contact with it all the time. And then I'd be very careful about utilizing products like chlorine and ammonia and those types of things. I mean, honestly, if chlorine and ammonia combine, they can produce, fumes that are deadly. So they're very dangerous chemicals. I mean, chlorine was originally produced during World War II for chemical warfare. And then at the end of World War II, they said, oh, what are we going to do with all this? Oh, let's put it into cleaning products, right? You don't need that kind of thing on an everyday basis. If there's a blood spill or something you're attending to, it's one thing. But if you're washing your clothes and you want your whites whiter and your brights brighter, you certainly don't need to be using those kinds of heavy-duty chemicals that are so harmful to both the health of our children and the health of our planet.
Absolutely. And as you're talking, I think I brought this up earlier, but when we leave our house, let's say, you grow up in your home, you then go to college, and I know many of us, including myself, you go to the store and you buy the very same products that were underneath your kitchen cabinets when you were growing up, because that's what you're familiar with.
Absolutely.
What I love about, what your company's doing is that think about how many new generations now, when they start going to college, now that moms and dads like myself are learning, like, wait a second, this is what we need to be buying. This is not what we should be buying. When
Yes.
our next generation start going to college, it always makes me happy to think about this, is that they're not even going to second guess it. It's just going to be like, oh, this is what I bought. This is what my mom and dad bought. This is what I'm going to buy. And we're really retraining without even having to do anything about it. It's just like as long as we're taking care of it now, our kids won't even have to think about it later, which I just love that thought.
That's right. That's right. Brand loyalty is so important. So we learn that for sure as a child, what mom and dad brings, and we see a lot of brand loyalty. At the same time, though, this new generation, the millennials, are also heavily influenced by things that they see on social media. Mm-hmm. So things that are available to them, they'll oftentimes break with brand loyalty and make different decisions based on what their peers are doing and based on the information they're getting through social media. organizations such as yours that are reaching out and they're sharing these important pieces of information that really look at the holistic person, right? So looking at each and everything and providing this kind of information. And once again, so easily accessible on our mobile devices and all the electronics we interact with, you know, people have information at the tip of their fingertips. And so it's really a great time that even if the parents haven't made those decisions yet, the younger generation is getting access to that information. We have a program at Earth Friendly Products where we go into the schools and we teach fifth graders. And so we did about 12,000 students just here in the California area. And it's called Eco Science. And so we partner at all of our manufacturing facilities with local museums because the children are our future. We want to reach them. We want to educate them. So we partner with these museums. So here in California, you would go in the Discovery Science Center, either in Santa Ana or in LA. And as you get a shopping cart, and the child walks with their shopping cart through the museum, and there's a big computer screen, and the computer screen asks some questions. Should it say biodegradable? Should it say plant-based? And the child learns how to read labels. And then at the same time, those museum educators go into fifth grade classrooms and they talk to children about how do you utilize the power of nature to create a cleaning product? What is a base? What is a surfactant? What is an enzyme? How do you use essential oils? And what is the finished product? And then children, you have the translational science of them coming home and saying, hey, mom, dad, did you know that this is what we should look for on the labels, that these are the kinds of things we should be doing? And that's exciting for us too, to see the young generation really engaged in protecting our planet and in protecting their health. And people going out to college, you know, we also try to do all sorts of different programs with teens turning green and you know, different ambassador welcome programs with universities, so that sometimes the first time a child's ever done their laundry detergent is when they get to college. You know, so up until that point, mom and dad did it and I'm good, and then they get to college.
Things that you turn pink.
Yes. So it's really exciting to see the tides changing, but the urgency is so important. And I mean, Kristen, you know it all too well. So many of us are really challenged with so many different illnesses and things, and we need to act so quickly. And so I really appreciate you giving us a medium to disseminate this important information, because this is the information that people oftentimes aren't getting. They're getting a lot of messaging and a lot of inputs about kill this virus and kill that virus. And, you know, as parents, we're just trying to do the best we can, and we want it to be safe for our child. And there's a lot of fear mongering going on that creates this fear and this reaction, you know, to overdo it. And ultimately those consequences can have very chronic long-term implications.
Well, we're seeing more chronic illnesses. We're seeing more autism. It's 1 in 68 right now. You know,
Yes.
the suspicion is they haven't confirmed it yet, but the suspicion is 1 in 36 is what they're talking about now.
Yes.
And so the numbers continue to grow. We also know that now, which I find interesting because I've known it for over a decade, and our community that's been involved with biomedical and involved with, you know, natural cleaning, living, they're now saying, oh, you know, we're seeing some crossover with autism and autoimmune and food allergies and, you know,
Yes.
having toxic overload. And well, yes, we know that. We're glad CNN is finally picking up on this.
Yes.
But, you know, companies like yourself and our organization as well, you know, we've been screaming from the rooftops.
Yes.
You guys listen, we're poisoning our planet. We are
Yes.
poisoning our foods. We are
Yes.
poisoning our children. We are poisoning ourselves and our animals. Can you remember being a kid hearing a dog have cancer? I can't remember that. And
No.
yet I keep hearing it all over the place. Cats and dogs and birds. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
And so, you know, when you're thinking about even just having your child in the classroom, you know, how do we get the schools? Like, how do we even get the schools to start using better cleaning supplies like yourself? Because don't you remember being a kid? And I can remember the janitor, you know, going up and down, and the smell of the bleach would just burn my eyes.
Oh,
So,
yes.
you know, how do we get these schools involved to say, hey, it's not just about, you know, healing their minds and helping their minds. It's about also making sure that they're in a safe environment when it comes to a toxic overload.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Kristen. And so it really takes active and involved parents to be really at the forefront of this movement. So at the schools, PTA presidents, people that have influential positions within the school need to be talking to the schools about sourcing and procurement and what products are being brought into those schools. So at Ecos, we have an entire pro line or a professional line, right? So much larger sizes that can be used in schools and restaurants and hospitals and other venues, because our children are spending a lot of time in their classrooms. You know, 2 days ago, I went to an Earth Day activity at Disneyland, and it was a wonderful, wonderful event where they had Richard Louv come in, and he's the guy who coined the term nature deficit disorder.
Okay.
And he was fascinating. He was talking about the fact, though, the sad fact that they've done studies to show that prisoners actually have more outdoor time than our children have.
Yeah.
Our children are inside all day long. And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? They're obviously in school, but then when they get home, we used to play outside all the time. And now because of stranger danger, parents are a little more fearful because of all of the electronic devices and video games. Children are spending more time on cell phones and other things, but our children are inside. And so because of that, the indoor air quality is of the most critical importance now, more than it's ever been, because our kids aren't outside enough. And certainly in the classroom, when they're in there, I understand obviously people want to keep their children well and not have this flu or other things. And so cleaning and being vigilant is important, but it's very important the products that the janitors and the custodial staff are using. When we go into schools, we oftentimes partner with organizations like Grades of Green. They're a wonderful group where they're really involving a lot of educators and students and going out there and doing eco audits and taking a look at what are the schools doing from an environmental perspective and a health perspective. What are the products? You know, my daughter actually was part of Grades of Green when she was in 6th grade, and she went through and she met with the janitors and wrote down all the products that they were using, and then came back and actually did a really fun study to show that you could get green products at a much better price point, because a lot of time the barrier to entry for a lot of schools and for a lot of homeowners and other people was that green was more expensive. And so that's something I'm proud of too at Earth Friendly Products. Our entire Ecos brand is value priced, right? So when you buy our products and you go to Costco or Sam's Club or Walmart or Target or Whole Foods or Sprouts or any of the retailers where you shop at, you'll see that we're delivering a really excellent value. And that's because we're a primary manufacturer. We make it ourselves. We don't have a middleman involved, so we make it and we sell it to our retail partners. The same thing on the institutional side, right? We make it ourselves and we sell it to the various institutions and schools. So I would say, you know, to your audience out there, look for wonderful organizations in your area, organizations such as Grades of Green here in Southern California. Ask them to go in and do eco audits, talk to the custodial staff. A lot of times getting buy-in from the custodial staff is more important than even whoever's doing the sourcing and procurement, because you want the teams on the ground that are actually doing the work to understand, hey, these products work, but it's also better for their health because they're exposed to these products each and every day. And numerous studies have been done to show that cleaning professionals have higher incidences of cancer and asthma and nerve and organ damage and so many other things. There was a study that just came out that showed that cleaning products, certain cleaning products, were equivalent to smoking 20 cigarettes a day. It just ran in USA Today about 2 months ago, 20 cigarettes a day. So here people are, you know, living their lives and they don't smoke and they don't do other things and they're ending up with lung cancers and other things. And it's oftentimes a direct result of cleaning products. So I think it's really important that, you know, us parents all get together and talk to our schools, talk to the custodial staff, and ask them to support green brands in their schools.
Absolutely. And it made me think of another thing. Like when I go to hotels, especially with my son, because he is so sensitive, I
Yep.
bring all of our own cleaning supplies. And before he can even touch the bathtub, I like clean the bathtub out. I use all the
Yes.
clean all the surfaces. I bring our own sheets. I'm so nervous because I know that what I know, even when we've all been in hotels where you get out of the room and you just feel sick because it's such a toxic overload. I've seen, and I can't think of the hotel, but I saw a hotel recently that had a little sign on it that said, if you need from like a more earth, like I don't want to say earth friendly because I know that's your guys' name, but it was something to that effect.
Yeah.
Products, because they're now recognizing that people are sensitive. So this isn't something that, you know, I remember when my son first got diagnosed and people were talking about all this stuff, and I thought, oh my goodness, like everyone's so granola and they're singing Kumbaya and they don't shave their legs. That's not true, guys. This
Yeah,
is like mainstream now.
absolutely.
Not just where people are around a campfire singing Kumbaya. This is a wake up call for all of us. And we are
Yeah.
just so proud to have you as a partner. And, you know, why do you partner
Thank you.
with organizations like ourselves?
Well, you know, Kristen, I'm so really proud to partner with you in the work that you guys do at Autism Hope Alliance. It's just, you know, it's so important to partner with the various organizations that are out there to protect our children. And we share that mission and we share that vision. And I'm a mom. I wake up every single morning driven by the fact that I want to protect my child, as do you, as do all the other parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and all of the audience members that are tuned in today. And so I want to do our part, and I want to partner with like-minded organizations that are disseminating this important information. And I just want to make sure that people understand, you know, the great importance that we have to look at the whole picture, as you talked about early on, right? It's the buildup of so many of these things and what all goes into that bucket. And so as we address food, as we address personal care products, let's look at cleaning products as well. And I think that you guys have done just a wonderful job of educating and informing your members and your audience. And we always want to make sure to add our support to organizations like yours that are at the front line fighting this war for our children.
Well, we are just so honored, and we love your products. We love your mission,
Yeah.
and for all of you guys watching, you know, they are doing such an amazing thing. We have these raffles going on this week, and we're so excited. I always think of it like Oprah, like, oh, we get cars, but you can get cleaning products. It's even
A
better.
healthy home for everyone.
Like, so I'm so excited. So there's different raffles going on. So you guys definitely want to make sure that you participate this week because they have been so generous. 100 different families. We're gonna win something. So that's really cool. And then the other thing they're doing is they're adding to our 10 super boxes, and they're gonna make the most beautiful boxes for you guys. And I've seen samples of these boxes, guys. You have no idea what you're in store for. So I can't even thank you enough for the generosity that you guys have bestowed upon our amazing community here, because without companies like you, we can't do what we do. So
Thank you. Well, thank you, Kristen. We're certainly proud to stand with you. And to all the eco warriors that are out there that are listening today, I'm grateful for you guys all joining us on this journey. And I truly believe if we all stand together, we can make a huge difference for our children and for our children's children.
absolutely. And, you know, I want to take this moment also to let you guys know that if you guys love what you're watching, because, you know, somebody like Kelly, she's so busy. You have no idea how hard it was to get her here. Like, it was so awesome. I mean, we have we have over 25 experts in this summit. And if you guys want to have this for a lifetime and maybe have your spouse watch it or your family member, because this is a lot of information to take in, you guys can go to autismhopesummit.com and you can buy the whole package and watch it whenever you want. On top of that, we have last year's summit and the year before, and we're putting that all together in a package. And here's the coolest part. Not only will you guys get this amazing information, but every dollar we raise goes back to help our nutritional scholarship fund, to help more families be able to learn more about what Kelly's doing, learn more about what our other partners are doing. So it's basically, in my mind, it's a win-win situation for everybody involved. And so again, Kelly, I can't thank you enough for all the work you do. I want you to leave just whatever message you want to leave with their families today, especially the families that this might be something so new to them. They never even thought about it. It might be a brand new family diagnosed with a child. It might be a family that's been on their journey for a while. What message could you leave for them?
I just want to say to all the parents out there that are on this journey that we're going to fight the fight with you, and that you have a community of people in solidarity around you. And I just want people to feel empowered at the end of the day, that we can make good choices, that we can do things. I think a lot of times we feel a lot of despair and we don't feel the hope and the strength in being able to decipher through all of these messages that are coming to us. So I hope that from our side, we can offer hope in the fact that you can go into your store, you can read the ingredients, you can look for certifications. There's things that you can do in that arena. And we just want to empower each and every person with the knowledge so that they can feel comfortable in protecting their family from this piece of the equation. And I just want to say to everybody out there, thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, what a beautiful message. Thank you so much again, Kelly, for your time. And thank you for all that are watching. Remember, there is hope and we're just not going to give up. So until next time, bye guys.
Bye.